The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod coming to you after the Celtics throttle the Indiana Pacers. See what I did there? 142-105. The Celtics' most lopsided win of the season, the Celtics' highest point output of the season, and well, we can all exhale because not that there was no one slamming panic buttons, but I'll admit, even the tenor of this podcast after the Christmas Day game was, hey, what's going on with these Celtics? It wasn't just the 2 losses in a row. It was 3 and 4 in their last 7. Just hadn't been playing with the same zip, the same energy, the same dominance that we had seen for so much of the past 14 months. And while everything kind of lined up tonight, the Pacers coming in on back-to-back, you knew they were going to be maybe not quite as energetic as they usually are. They also had a couple injuries, no Nesmith, which was a nice blessing considering how well and how reckless he usually plays against these Celtics. And you get your 2 superstars taking it up a level, and Payton Pritchard off the bench. Maybe he's the 3rd superstar at this point. And the Celtics get a nice, breezy win where everybody can feel pretty good about it. And you can just tell from the opening minutes, even though the Celtics weren't making shots, felt like defensively they were playing with the right energy. They were at least trying to get the right shots offensively. Poor Sam Hauser couldn't get a shot to fall early on, even as they tried to get him activated. One of the few spots that they one of those check boxes they didn't get to tonight. Although Sam did have a couple mid-range shots and got some minutes with the start and can find something to harness there. But the real energy shifter, as usual, was Jaylen Brown. Goes for a season-high 44 points, 4 dunks, including one pretty big poster over Miles Turner. If you're a nerd like me and you're now checking out the dunk score on the NBA's website, the 13th dunk score to reach triple digits this year. Jaylen is the first player to have 2 triple-digit dunks, so 100-plus. It doesn't quite rise to the level of his Jalen Smith poster, which is still the number 3 dunk in the NBA this season, last I checked. But it does slide onto the list, barely cracking the 100 spot. And, threw down a windmill in transition at one point. Yeah, so Jaylen just doing Jaylen things in this game. Super efficient, made his first 9 shots, really set the tone, really ripped this game open with his play. Shouldn't take away from what Jason Tatum did out there. Had a double-double by the second quarter. Both guys played the entirety of the first quarter. You could tell the Celtics were eager to cleanse that palate after the last couple days, but also just kind of get back to playing their brand of basketball, and it was the superstars that set the tone. I really thought Tatum made all the right decisions in the first half. He was all over the glass. Jaylen even had a couple assists early. Felt like that helped light his fuse before the shots started falling. And it was just, it felt more like Celtics basketball today, even while you're not playing. The Celtics had no Drew Holiday and no Kristaps Porzingis in this one, but really didn't miss a beat. I thought the bench was phenomenal in this one. You had Payton Pritchard flirts with a triple-double. And let's just take that little diversion right here. So Payton goes, I think it was 18, 10, and 8. Got to the 10 assists, but he lingered in this game a little bit in the fourth quarter, got an opportunity to maybe chase those final 2 rebounds. Neemias Queta probably owes him an apology, maybe Jordan Walsh too. A little sequence towards the midway through the fourth quarter where Payton might have been able to get to those 2 final rebounds. But you know what? That's the perils of being the 6'1" guard. You can't sometimes outjump that 7-foot center or the 6'7" wing. And so he falls a little bit short. Joe Mazzulla eventually pulls him from this game, which is the right move. I've long been a guy who hates when players sort of recklessly chase those stats. I thought this was fine because Payton's usually out there for extended minutes, especially at the late in games. It did feel like Joe let Jaylen linger a little bit just to try to get that, whatever number he could get to, and got to 40, and they seemed to be talking a little bit. Jaylen gets to 44, and then that was the right point. He probably could have got to 50 if they really wanted to, but there was no need. I feel worse for Payton because if he got the triple-double, then after a couple quiet games here, kind of reignites the sixth man of the year conversation. Just a reminder to people that maybe aren't hyper-focused on the Celtics that he's still putting up some crazy numbers. But ultimately, the story here is just the Celtics get back to playing their style of basketball, really imposing their will. I thought defensively they were just a little bit more crisp. The steals number was way up, 9 steals I think it was. Created more turnovers. Just played with a better intensity. We're more locked in, and maybe most importantly, kept their foot on the gas for most of this. They did get a little reckless with the fouls in the second half. I don't think Indiana shot a free throw in the first half, but had like 26 in the second half. Luckily, Boston's free throw defense, after opponents had combined to make their last 48 free throws and like 50 out of 51, the Celtics finally watch an opponent miss a bunch. And so I think everyone gets nuggets or Big Macs or something. I'm going to have to check my McDonald's app to see what they're getting for missed free throws over there at the Garden. So just a nice night to remind you that, these Celtics are still capable of dusting themselves off. It had been since the Miami series in the 2023 playoffs, where the Celtics fell behind 3-0, that the last time the Celtics had lost 3 games. I'd have to go back and check that year when the last time in the regular season it happened. But needless to say, it's been quite a while since the Celtics had lost 3 games in a row, something they didn't do last year. Even more importantly, they won at home, having already tripped up a number of times, 5 times at home this season, more already than all of last year. Celtics take care of business, and you know what? It's not going to be any easier. Put it this way: the Pacers should be a little bit healthier, a little bit more well rested. It's going to get more difficult on Sunday, but we'll get to that in a bit. I just got to harp on it. Like the Celtics were, it was nice. It felt like they were a little bit back. A couple little things that I wanted to sprinkle in here, like Jordan Walsh gets some minutes in this game, and I thought he really did a nice job. Hit a couple threes, chased down some rebounds. I think he had a block at one point. Just good defensively. Every good game he can stack on top of another is encouraging and gets him probably another opportunity in a situation where the team is shorthanded. Again, I think they're still looking for that one more guy that they can lean on, and Jordan's been probably the best candidate. Maybe Drew Peterson too, in certain situations. Even he got in at the end of the game. Him and Tillman. Tillman gets dusted off for the first time in a while. But the bench pairing up, I think, for 50 points. That's encouraging. That even on a night when you're short-handed 2 guys and you still get 50 from your bench, that bench production is not always going to be the number of points. It's going to be the efficiency of that group. But this group was good tonight and really gave the game what it needed. And so not a lot to fret here. That's why we lament that Payton Pritchard didn't get to stay in the game and cap off his triple-double. It's a pretty good night. A lot more fun than fretting that the Celtics, didn't have it in crunch time or couldn't stop Caleb Martin or whatever else we've had to fret over the last couple weeks. A solid win for the Boston Celtics, and we'll see if there's a chance here for it to snowball, but the schedule gets difficult as we turn into January. So before we get too far ahead, here's some more from our post-game show.
Celtics Talk is presented by 24 Auto Group, where now through the end of the year, they are doubling your down payment at all 11 locations throughout southern New England. Go to 24autogroup.com for more info.
I thought defensively we were active. We took care of the basketball, and I thought the aggression again. Jaylen Brown came out from the very beginning and set the tone for the team, and I felt like the team followed him.
You can tell on a given night within the first 5 minutes, like what sort of energy the Celtics are going to bring. And it was clear they had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder from Christmas and the 2 losses in a row, and they were just on a different level to start this game. And it started with Jaylen, but that energy, he didn't even need to shift it. The energy was there, and he just harnessed it. And they all kind of took it and went, because this game was just as dominant as we've seen them be. And that was great. That was what we expected, the potential with all the cards lining up with Indy being on the back-to-back and all that. This was the perfect scenario for the Celtics to start feeling good.
And this game was kind of back and forth for a few minutes out of the gate, and then Jaylen Brown taking over. He had 15 points in the first quarter. He had another 8 in the second quarter. When you saw that dunk, he had a couple of them in that second quarter, Eddie. But the aggressive play of Jaylen Brown tonight, how would you describe it?
I would think that he also know that he hasn't played up to his standard the last couple games as far as setting the tone is what I should say, because he still has been really effective. But I just thought that just being aggressive, not just settling for shots. He's going to get to his shot, not just being like, hey, I'm going to take this shot because it's wide open. I'm getting to the rim. I'm getting to the basket. I'm finishing with authority. I thought he was phenomenal tonight. And I think that this is something that he can carry over, and this is what this team needs, by the way.
I kind of want to kick on Pacers post-game live, because they must be sick of this dude. From what Jaylen did in the Eastern Conference Finals, winning that MVP trophy, snatching away victories, to now taking this out on them in the regular season. He's been phenomenal. I don't know if there's something about the Pacers. Halliburton was a Team USA guy, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's looking over there thinking, man, that guy got to go to Paris and I didn't. Whatever it is, Jaylen Brown seeing red against these guys, and he has been fantastic. And it was just the right time. Again, it felt like a superstar had to kind of get you going, and that's what they did tonight.
And he was extremely efficient as well. Like, he had the 44 points, but he was 16 of 24 from the field, made the 6 threes. And then the defense as well. I mean, you talked a lot about the defense and how it's going to kind of correlate there with the offense. We saw Jaylen a couple times coming up with the steal and going back to it like a pick 6. He did that a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, I always say this, man. It's not what I'm saying is not something that's not true. Okay. The thing is, if you engage defensively, a lot of times offensively, it becomes a whole lot easier. And I think that just being locked in defensively, and I think that's where Jaylen Brown started, was being locked in defensively, making sure that, because you hear some of his quotes after the games. He's like, oh, yeah, we just wasn't right there defensively. But tonight wasn't one of those nights. And they were there, and then guess what happens? Offense comes a whole lot easier. You get transition buckets. You get easier baskets. You're able to attack. You have a different mentality. So I love when we play defense like this. To me, this is what's going to win us the championship. It's not going to be our three-point shooting. It's not going to be our offense. It's going to be when we lock down defensively and get those stops when we need to get them.
All right, Jaylen Brown, meanwhile, standing by with Abby Chin back at TD Garden. Let's send it out to Abby.
Jaylen, this team, to a man, coming off of that loss on Christmas Day, took ownership. What kind of tone did you want to come out and set here tonight?
Well, we had to respond. We let our fans down, especially losing there at home court on Christmas Day. So we wanted to come out with a good atonement game, and tonight was a good example of that.
You did it in a big way. Season high 44 points, also 4 steals, and you got a standing ovation from this crowd. What did that mean to you?
That was great. You don't always get too many nights like these, so I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate my teammates, Joe for letting me go back out there. So tonight was fun.
What did you find out there?
We were just playing faster. Like Indiana kind of forces us to play that type of way, and like when I play like that, I can find the rhythm a little bit better. I think we struggle sometimes when we slow the ball down. We got a lot of talent, so I like to get up and down.
You had some monster dunks, especially in that first half. Which one was your favorite?
Which one? All of them, man. I'm getting old, abs, so every one got to make it count.
You're preaching to the choir, Jaylen. Congratulations. Nice work tonight.
You guys. Appreciate it.
So Jaylen Brown with the 44 points tonight. You take a look at where that ranks for him all time. He had the 50-point game against the Magic going back a couple of years. That was 3 years ago now. And then 46 against the Knicks going back to the 2021 season. This is presented by the Massachusetts Health Connector. Everyone needs health insurance. Find a plan that gets you the care you need and help paying for it by January 23rd at mahealthconnector.org. Drew and Scalson courtside for that. And, the dunk score over 100. We'll get a little further into that coming up later in the show. But how much fun was it to watch Jaylen Brown courtside tonight?
Well, Giles, when Jaylen Brown is in a mode like that, nobody's going to stop him. I mean, we see it. You know, a lot of the time it's in the first quarter as he sets the tone for these games. Scal, he was not going to be denied tonight.
Yeah, it is amazing when you see star players play. There's a few things. One, they let the game come to them, but somehow, some way they can position themselves to score over 40 points in a game, right? That was impressive. Early on in that game, Brown was just distributing. He got a couple wide open threes. He had that screen and roll to the dunk, and then from there, he just took over. And it's a nice luxury to have. We have star players in this team. We have role players on this team. But when your second best player, Jaylen Brown, who got, Finals MVP and Eastern Conference Finals MVP, has an opportunity to go off, and the team sort of embraces that.
Yeah, he made his first 9 shots of the game, and he was purely dominant out of the gate. And then for the Celtics, it's not just the starters, but it's the bench. I mean, the bench scoring was a huge problem during that little cold spell. You mentioned it. Sam Hauser misses a couple of games. Payton Pritchard doesn't shoot it very well. He was 3 for 19 on threes in his last 3 games, averaging below 6 points per game. But you knew he was going to get them back on track. And I wonder, Scal, if, earlier in the season, maybe there were games where the Celtics weren't playing so well, and Payton Pritchard kind of bailed them out.
Sure.
And he wasn't bailing them out in the last few games, and that's why they lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have, guys that can knock down shots off the bench. Our whole team is predicated on knocking down threes. So, yeah, it's good to see Payton Pritchard get back at it, but I still think there's more levels for him to grow to. It's hard, man. The league is a tough league. When you start having success, people start taking things away from you, and you got to have counters upon counters. And right now, Pritchard hit that little bit of a slump. It was good to see him shake out of it.
Was there a heightened level of urgency with this group going into this game?
Yeah, for sure. Like, coming off a loss and a one that we know we should have played way harder and then won, it definitely added a sense of, all right, we got to completely, dominate these guys and dominate this game. So going in and just knowing that, the perspective is a little bit different. I think the mentality is always, to win every game, obviously. But, everybody in this locker room hates losing. So, losing a game, everybody hates that feeling. Everybody wants to come back and, show everybody else that, yeah, we lost this game, but what should we do next game? Now this game was that time, and now it's about, can we keep doing it over and over again? Al talks about consistency all the time, so just staying consistently winning, consistently doing good things, good habits every single day leads to wins.
Jaylen, how concerned were you with the recent stretch that you guys were on, and how did you want to see yourself and the team react to it in this one?
I wasn't concerned at all. I think that's just the grind of a season. It's a new year. You can't expect everything to just go perfect. I think the adversity is kind of you need that more to kind of see what you're made of. So in those moments, you don't get concerned. You kind of just, look to your guys, look to your group in order to it's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to see what we're made of. So I'll never get concerned in those moments. You just got to respond. That's my favorite thing to do is respond from adversity.
And Payton, Sam mentioned this morning you guys had to get back to the fundamentals a little bit. What was that process like, I guess, this morning at shoot-around or whenever that was, of kind of going back to the basics?
I don't know if it's necessarily the fundamentals, but just the intensity we play with, the pace we play with, the ball pressure, and then just being active off ball, helping our guys out. If we see a guy get beat, we're recovering. We're having multiple efforts, and I think tonight we showed that. We had a lot of deflections. I don't know how many steals did JB had, but we're just active, and it makes a difference. We get out and running after that, so something we just got to be mindful of and keep playing that way.
Jaylen, you say never concerned, but was there any extra motivation to get back on track? Obviously, you guys lost 2 in a row, and you haven't lost 3 in a row this season. Was there any extra motivation there to get back on track this game?
Yeah, of course. I think obviously playing on Christmas Day is a privilege, and we kind of let our fans down on our home court, and we appreciate everybody for taking the time out of their day to watch us, and we didn't put our best foot forward. So I think we wanted to come out and respond today.
And then, Jaylen, obviously you had a season high 44. Payton, you were a couple boards away from a triple-double. Do you think your footwear choices tonight were a coincidence? Or do you think it meant something that both of you had such great nights?
It gives you a little bit, in 2K, it gives you a couple points overall on quickness, rebounding, I think I had 2 offensive rebounds in a row. Maybe if I'm not rocking the shoes, I don't have that quick of bounce.
If Payton gets a dunk this season, it's definitely the shoes.
Fair enough.
Jaylen, obviously it's probably hard to put it into words, but when you start a game like that, making your first 9 shots, the transition dunks, the threes, the crowd's going crazy, what does that feel like to somebody like all of us in this room that have never felt anything like that before, if you could try to put it into words?
It's just a rhythm. It's like you're just in tune with, everything. Like, you just connected to the fans, you just connected to the game. Everything is just kind of flowing all in the same direction. And, like, you just got to do your best to stay in that. Little stuff can kind of take you out of it. Anything, arguing with the refs or paying attention to other stuff or whatever. You just got to do your best to kind of stay in that rhythm. And then I think you kind of can ride that and just enjoy that and play basketball from there.
Jen, you're obviously really good in first quarters last year. This year there's been some adjustments with subbing out, Jason playing more often. Today you got the whole run, got going again. How did it feel to kind of get that run, and what's the process been like for you over the course of this year of kind of figuring out, your spots and timing?
I think it's been good. Obviously, it's been different. I'm used to being the guy that kind of starts the game off, but we switched it up this year, and that's made me adjust to certain things. I've been more of a playmaker, but just trying to find my rhythm. I just think it's ultimately making me a better basketball player. So, whatever the team needs is whatever we got to do, but it's definitely been a little different than the past.
Jaylen, it's been a difficult couple of weeks for you. What have you done to kind of get your mind off of things and on basketball or off basketball? What have you done to kind of be meditative? What have you done to kind of make sure you're focused when you're here, because life has been a little bit difficult?
Yeah, I just been spending time with my family. Obviously, the situations that happened a week or so ago kind of affected us a little bit, made us start to evaluate and think about things a little bit differently. We didn't love kind of how the media approached the situation. We had drones flying over our house, people knocking on the door. It was a lot, but we get it. It is what it is. But that definitely takes some brain power to kind of have to filter through that for your family and stuff like that. And we got some decisions we got to make going forward.
And can you describe the significance of your skull cap?
What you mean?
What was it? What is it kind of expressing?
It's just a fashion statement, but I guess I'm a king, so I got some jewels.
Jaylen, you mentioned there was a focus and a want to bounce back after Christmas, but you take a lot of pride in being a leader of this team. Were you kind of searching more to try to find that rhythm and get into that zone you got into tonight, just given how the last couple games have gone?
We just had to be ready to go. However the game was going to be played, this style of play in the end, I think, is more catered to me. Aggressive, physical, getting up and down, transition. They kind of force us to have to play that kind of style, which I think is more catered to how I want to play basketball. So tonight was a night where I was able to get into a rhythm. Next game may be different, but whatever the game needs, being able to adjust and do whatever is needed for our team. If they were going to help, being okay with just making those reads all night. But tonight we was able to turn them over, speed the game up, getting out, get some open shots, and I was able to catch a rhythm.
Sam Manson from NBC Nightly News Kids Edition. This question is for both of you. First, great win tonight. Going into 2025, is there anything that you guys are focused on continuing or improving upon?
I think I'm going to continue the path I'm on, just, being balanced and on the court, off the court, but just always getting my work in and just, like I said, always trying to find different areas to keep growing and as a person. And, yeah, that's really it. What about you?
Yeah, just, coming out, making sure that our guys are ready to go, empowering guys, continuing to feed confidence into our team. I think we're only as strong as, each link. So, empowering guys, to continue their great play. It would mean a lot for me to get Payton to help him get Sixth Man of the Year. So just continuing to empower everybody on our team and give them confidence and kind of lead us on defense as well, picking up guys full court. Whatever I got to do, getting steals, being active. But when our team is at its best, our guys are feeling empowered and we're playing and flying around on defense. So I would say those two things.
Payton, did you know you were 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double? And did you let Jordan know that was happening as well afterwards?
I didn't let him know, but, after hearing the fans' reactions, and obviously it's very easy to see up at the scoreboard, but could hear the gasp. But I've said this before, though, when you have something on the line like that, I don't want to, chase it. It feels, that don't feel like it's a real accomplishment. You want to get it naturally in the flow of a game, and so hopefully I'll be in another opportunity. I'll get it then.
And then, Jaylen, you had 4 steals tonight. I feel like defensively, the narrative isn't enough. You need those numbers. And is that something that you're capable of, and how do you kind of get to that while balancing the team defense aspect of it?
For sure, and I don't think defense is people pay enough attention to it, but I feel like I'm one of the best two-way players in the world. So I try to hang my hat on that side by doing different assignments, like picking up guys full court, chasing guys off screen, switching on the bigs. That takes a lot of energy. Then have to go back down and try to score 24, 25 a night, get our guys going. But defense is where our team kind of needs to set the tone and hang our hat, physicality, toughness. And, I feel like I'm the leader of that. So I got to hold myself accountable each and every night. P let me know after the game I gave up some baskets. So I got guys that's going to let me know if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I mean, to be honest, though, for what he is capable of doing, though, and, at his size, and you don't see many people, picking up full court like that, guarding the best guards in the world. Usually he would be somebody his size would guard a wing, but he's picking up the best point guards in the world full court. And then, like you said, scoring 25. People don't really understand how difficult that really is. And they overestimate, what that takes. So he should definitely be in the all-defensive team category because we give him the hardest assignments. It's an exhausting thing, and he's creating havoc and making things tough every night. So definitely they need to take notice.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
All right, Celtics back in action on Sunday night. Capping off this home and home with the Indiana Pacers at TD Garden. Pacers didn't have Nembhard tonight, didn't have Nesmith, didn't have Obi Toppin. They could get 2 of those 3 back. Doesn't sound like Nesmith is going to be back from this ankle injury quite yet, but maybe Nembhard and maybe Toppin. So we'll see. I also think, if you look at the schedule for the Pacers, I think they were out west, and they came home, had to play Oklahoma City. Then they had to fly here. India is not a long flight, but it is one of the longer Eastern Conference flights. And so, a chance for them to get some rest here. And I suspect we'll see a better version. A lot of our pregame show, we were talking about how close these matchups have routinely been. 6 of the 9 before tonight had been decided by 5 points or less, including in the playoffs, a couple of overtime games. So, yeah, I suspect you'll see a better version of the Pacers, maybe cranking up the pace a little bit. Celtics will have to be just even a little bit sharper. And, certainly after they watch the tape on this, they're going to want to try to bottle up the superstars, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, a little bit more. So we'll see how the rest of the roster responds. And from a Celtics perspective, interested to see who's back out there. Is Drew Holiday able to go after missing a couple games here? Is Kristaps back out there? It would help to have some reinforcements, or to see how the Celtics play it. Do they downshift others? This is the situation now is they're playing every other day through the end of the next road trip, which is early January. They go out for 4 games. I think there's a back-to-back in there, so you gotta start thinking about the big men split as part of that. And there's some interesting games on both these 2 West Coast trips that they have into the month of January. But got to keep laser focused on the Pacers. It'll be fun, a little playoff vibe to it, and having to make the adjustments and having to find a way to come back. And certainly Celtics were able to do that throughout the postseason while sweeping the Pacers, even though that was a difficult series, and I think they should be braced for a difficult matchup on Sunday. We'll be right back here with you after that one here on the Postgame Pod. So go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you Sunday night on the Postgame Pod.